Welcome back, Patriots, for another episode of the Bald Brad Show. It is officially Monday. We've kicked into another week, which means it's another week of Joe Biden's presidency. But 2 more days, and then we're only 2 months out from that guy getting the hell out of office. Hopefully all of you had a lovely weekend. I feel like it went by extremely fast, but I was a little antsy on getting in and doing a nice show with all of you fine patriots today. Now, the United States government has done the unthinkable. And I suppose it's how you look at it. It's good. Well, they failed their 7th audit. Now, we'll get into it. But that just shows you we need D.O.G.E more than ever. Like, more than ever. Wait till we get into the numbers. Now, did they do a little bit better than last time? Yes. Wait till we get in the number of just, where'd everything go? Where's all the money? What happened to it? And the response is, I don't know. Where's the money? What happened to it? We'll get into it, folks. And also Trump at UFC, the place went bananas. Joe Rogan said he's never been in a situation in a stadium where things were that loud. We're going to play that video for you. 100% guaranteed we're going to get hit with a copyright strike on that bad boy. And then we have some updates regarding YouTube pulling our video. Now, if you recall, we did a January 6th on what Joe Biden said about it. We got flagged. I'm going to keep my composure. We got flagged and we got our video taken down. And you have to go through this BS 7-question training that doesn't tell you anything about what you did wrong. So I filed an appeal. And, well, let's just say it's supposed to take, we'll take 72 hours to look at it. They looked at it within a matter of minutes. And they said, no, sorry, your video is conspiracy theory. And you're pushing all this stuff. Now, I looked at it again for like the 3rd time. I mean, I'm the one that made the video. I watched every second of it. I really, hand on Bible, I don't know what the hell they're talking about. I really do mean that. I don't know what they are talking about. And I'm not just saying because it's my video. Like, if I felt like, okay, like I get it, like I violated the terms of policy. Like, honestly, truthfully, I'm a rule follower. That's just my personality. I don't know what rule I broke, like specifically, like in what I said. So, needless to say, that video got taken down. And we will be doing a video over at Rumble and X. And I'm going to need your help, Patriots, on... Gee, it would be a shame if this video went viral or this video got posted other places. I didn't do it, but somebody else did. So if you guys want to sit there and create a whole new YouTube account and post that bleep everywhere, I'll give you the whole file. I'll give you the raw file. Actually, I don't know if I have the raw file anymore, but I'll give you the file nonetheless. So I'm not going to post it again because if I get 3 strikes, you're out of here, meaning our channel's deleted. But and it'd be a shame if everybody else posted it. All right. Well, good to see you, Patriots. A lot of people still showing up in the chat. We do a morning show. Franco, it's good to see you, brother. Brad, is one of your live videos? No, it was like a 7-minute 55 video. You won't find it. They deleted it. But it's only like a 7-8 minute video. I just read the news. It's freaking insane. They said I was pushing violence and harm and I don't know. I mean, it's literally titled, "This is what Joe Biden said about January 6th." But all right. Well, this was bonkers. If you're on audio, we are looking at Donald Trump at UFC. I think it was 309. And you have Mike Johnson there. Speaker. I mean, dude, the whole cabinet was freaking here, dude. This was badass. You have Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House. This is the Secret Service dude that's leading the brigade now. You have Elon Musk, Dana White, Donald Trump Jr., RFK Jr. is right back there. You have Kid Rock. I don't know if he's still called Kid Rock now. He's not a kid. And then you have Tulsi Gabbard. You have Dan Bongino's in the way back. Actually, I think that might be Dan, but I know he's back there. You have his wife. Hell, you have Aiden Ross. You got a lot of people. Folks, Joe Rogan said this is the loudest he's basically ever heard a stadium. Like, it was deafening. I also want to point out is they have massive amount of noise suppression on their mics, and it's still picking it up. Now, my video's gonna get flagged. So if you're watching this on video later, you're not gonna see this because I'm gonna have to trim it out. Here we go. It was, oh God, I believe this is the, was this the ESPN reporter or the reporter that got like, I don't want to say canceled, but removed? Oh goodness, forgive me, I forgot her name, but I think that, I'm pretty sure there's more. So like people were chanting USA, all this other stuff. Franco wants us to try, there we go. Franco wants this one. We'll give the people what they want. Yeah, it's H Steel. Thank you, Jeff Sinnen. Thank you. Yeah, look at everybody. All the guys, you freaking dogs, you. All the guys, hold on. Let me fix this. There we go. All the guys were like, it's Sage Steele. She's gorgeous. I love her. Calm down, boys. Simmer. So here's John Jones. Everybody's doing the Trump dance. It's like all across the NFL. Yeah, Vivek was there. Oh, you know, of course I know Vivek was there. Here's John Jones doing the Trump dance. Everybody, I love it. Everyone's doing it. That's everybody's celebration. The excitement is overwhelming. I agree. Everybody's saying, I was telling my wife this when we were going shopping. I was like, you know, I'm reading through everybody's comments. And you guys remember how I used to talk about, it feels like we stepped on a butterfly. This was back when like Joe Biden got elected. I was like, it just seems like everything's ass backwards. Like up is down, down is up, left is left. You know what I mean? Like depending on which way of the coin you look at. It just feels like we stepped on the wrong timeline. Like something happened, you know? And it feels like we stepped back into the right timeline. And that's what a lot of people are saying on the internet, for that matter. Let me turn my brightness down here. Sorry, folks. There we go. It was a little too bright. It's kind of blinding me a little bit. I was trying to see if I could sit through it for an entire hour. That's not going to happen. But that's what it feels like. I mean, it feels so patriotic. The stadium's chanting USA, USA. You have everybody there, and people are commenting, everybody in this photo used to be a Democrat. Everybody in here used to be a Democrat. And look how happy they look. RFK, not so much. But, you know, I think that's as happy as he gets a little bit. But huge weekend, and it just showed the excitement. And he did get happier as the night went on. So that was before he entered, and then he realized everybody loves Trump and him. So here he is trying to start a USA chant, and well, let's just say it went through. Every single time. God, we are so back. We are so back. So that's nice. That's nice to see. So I wanted to start off with a little bit of good news, and well, why not? Now, Pennsylvania Democrats, because there's still counting going on, Pennsylvania Democrats are openly admitting to counting illegal ballots. It's happening. Now, we're not shocked. We do have it in the bag, but there's still some things we need here. And quite frankly, if you're doing something you shouldn't be, then it shouldn't be allowed. So, as the contested Pennsylvania Senate race barrels towards a $1 million recount, Democratic officials in a few blue counties are openly admitting to counting disqualified ballots in defiance of state law and court orders. Just going to say something real quick. Did you notice it's always, or seems to be, or disproportionately, always Democrats doing this? You guys notice that? Like from 2016 to 2020 to 2024, like you don't see too many articles of Republicans defying state law by counting more ballots, right? Or, oh, there's a water pipe that burst, or putting up poster boards so people can't see, or sitting there making sure you don't have Republicans having eyes on the counting. Weird. Well, the Associated Press has called the race for Republican Senator-elect Dave McCormick who currently holds a 26,000 vote lead over incumbent Democrat Senator Bob Casey. But Casey has refused to concede and insisted that every vote be counted. The close margin within 1% point triggered an automatic recount under Pennsylvania law. Yet the critical question is, which votes should be counted? The Pennsylvania Supreme Court ruled before the election that mail-in ballots lacking formally required signatures or dates should not be included in the official results. Now, if I recall, maybe somebody can correct me. Jeff, you live in that state of Pennsylvania. I think before they did allow certain things like this to take place. However, Democratic officials in Philadelphia and surrounding Bucks Center and Montgomery counties are ignoring that court order. That's insane. That is bonkers. What's going on with Pennsylvania? Quote, I think we all know the president by a court doesn't matter anymore in this country. Oh my God. What? I have not read this, and that caught me off guard. I can't believe the balls on this dude said it. And of course it's a Democrat saying it. Well, the courts don't matter. Oh, rules out. What are those? People violate laws anytime they want. So for me, if I violate this law, it's because I want a court to pay attention. Jeez Louise, dude. Oh, just admitting it. He's just admitting it. Like, no care in the world. There's nothing more important than counting votes. Wow. Like, I think we all agree there's nothing more important than counting votes, but how about you count the votes that are legal, that you're allowed to count? Officials estimate there are fewer than 80,000 provisional ballots left to be counted across the Keystone State, less than 2% of the vote. We're going to see what happens with this, but Fetterman comes out, the thumb, and defended Pennsylvania election officials ignoring Pennsylvania Supreme Court ruling by counting votes that the court said were invalid. Jeez. Fetterman made the remarks unchallenged during a Sunday interview on CNN's State of the Union. Well, of course it went unchallenged. Of course it did. Come on. Well, you think CNN's going to sit there and push anything? So here's that clip. Of course, it's Jake Tapper.
What's your response to that Democratic official deliberately announcing that they're going to defy court orders and count these provisional ballots?
Well, again, I'm not going to chase every kinds of quotes, things like that, because I think you just pointed out that it refers to about 115 ballots, and that's not going to have an impact on this race at this point. So where we are now? It's very, very close, and I guarantee you, if Dave McCormick were in the opposite situation where he was down 15 to 17,000 votes, he would absolutely want to have every last vote counted as well too. And Bob Casey has never claimed fraud. And I think it's really interesting now, all of the Republicans and the conservative people on Twitter aren't talking about, oh, they're cheating, they're having all kinds of a thing after Trump won. No one's claiming that there's any kinds of actual cheating on our side. You know, calling and counting every vote, and that's where we're at. And that's the law. And when it's finished, and if Bob Casey comes up short, I can almost guarantee you that he's going to do the right thing and concede at that. So that's the thing. But my point, no one's making an argument that there's any kinds of cheating or thing on our side. It's like, hey, we're going to count every last vote.
Angel said it perfectly. They are openly cheating. Now, who knows with YouTube, I might be flagged for spreading conspiracy theories because I read an article, I gave you the news, and they are openly cheating. The guy said it. The guy said it. I quoted him. People violate laws anytime they want. So for me, if I violate this law, it's because I want the court to pay attention. I think we all know that president by court doesn't matter anymore in this country. Wow. So if you're just joining us, Pennsylvania openly admitted, the Democrats, by the way, that they're cheating and they don't care. Bonkers. Now, speaking of people that don't care, our government doesn't care, specifically the Pentagon. Now, you see, the title of today's episode says we need DOGE more than ever. U.S. government has failed its 7th consecutive audit. Now, if you're driving, you should pull over. If you're taking a sip of coffee, eating, I don't want y'all to choke when you find out how much money they just can't account for. Just gone. Poof. Disappeared. So I'm going to take a swig of my coffee because I'm going to lose it. Josh! I really want to, speaking of that, I really want to start a movement, like a video, asking the internet if we can get Donald Trump just to say the word Doge, because I don't think he said it yet. And I went, Doge! Wait, like when he goes, China, it's China. I really want to see him say Doge. Well, the Pentagon on Friday failed its 7th audit in a row, with the nation's largest government agency still unable to fully account. I'm getting dizzy. For more than $824 billion budget. Though officials stress they're making good progress towards a clean audit. Folks, last audit was over $1 trillion. But don't worry, we're making progress. We're making progress for a clean audit in 2028. Yeah, with Donald Trump back, you're not going to freaking have a lot of these agencies. There's not going to be any wonder where the money went because you're not going to get the money to spend in the first place. Department of Defense technically earned a disclaimer of opinion, meaning it failed to provide sufficient information to auditors to form an accurate opinion. Hey, where's this 800 billion? Don't worry about it. Oh, okay. Well, they wouldn't tell us where the money went. There's a disclaimer down at the bottom in the footnotes. The goal is to earn an unmodified audit opinion or a clean audit that says the financial statements are accurate. A qualified opinion says there are omissions and concerns, but the finances are generally reliable. Under Secretary of Defense, is that supposed to say controller, but it says comptroller? I don't know what that is. And Chief Financial Officer said that despite the disclaimer of opinion, I've never heard of that, by the way, which he expected, the Defense Department has turned a corner. Oh, shit. Come on. Look at this quote. It's like Joy Behar. Has turned a corner in its understanding of the depth and breadth of its challenges. Oh, I can't wait till these people are let go. I don't feel bad. I don't. Because when this happens, everybody's affected by it. I don't feel bad when somebody loses their job like this. Incompetent. And we all see it. And that's why Donald Trump's putting forth DOGE. That's why he's going to put in there the federal government that's all about efficiency. And Vivek Ramaswamy, yeah, I fanboy over him. Okay, get over it. I fanboy over Trump too. You going to get me on that one? Well, Ramaswamy expects mass reductions. Oh, and that's an understatement. You guys know me. I've been watching this behind the scenes like a hawk because I want to know every detail on what's going on. Because I'm tired of this crap. I'm tired of the wasteful spending, these freaking contractors that are getting these government contracts, like saying, oh, that bag of nails is going to cost you $100,000, even though we get it at Lowe's for $5. Yeah, that shit ain't flying anymore. So there will be mass reductions in the federal government under President-elect Donald Trump's second administration, Vivek Ramaswamy predicted this weekend. Ramaswamy picked him to lead or help lead with Elon Musk, the Department of Government Efficiency. And I love this. There is an end date for it. There's a long video, and I want to watch the whole thing because one, it's Vivek. to its Fox News, and we get a little bit more than just him talking about Doge.
They're going to be saving a lot of money and making our country stronger and better, and they'll be coming out with individual reports, but a big one toward the end. And you put those two together, it's going to be really great.
Jimmy. And that is President-elect Trump and on Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy leading the newly created Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, to identify and cut wasteful spending of taxpayer money within the federal government as America stares over a fiscal cliff due to the $7 trillion in new spending.
Oh, boy, $7 trillion. I'm not exaggerating, you guys. I really do mean this. When I hear this type, I lose my breath. Like, have you ever been punched in the gut? I'm not saying I feel like I'm being punched in the gut, but I lose my breath when we're talking about this type of money. If you don't, I'm not attacking you, but if you don't have a feeling of when you hear 7 trillion or 800 billion or 100 billion just going here or there, 60 billion, and you don't feel like just, I don't know. That means overall, look at cost of basic essentials. I wanted to see this because this is insane. Insane. You fix this. For those on audio, it's energy. You get this down 30%. I'm not saying everything else is going to go down 30%, but we'll drop the prices of goods a little bit here or there, or at least stagnate it. You know what I mean? I don't think prices are going back to what they used to be, folks. So when I see that $6 box of cereal, which I haven't been buying, by the way, I've been a good boy. I've been not buying boxes of cereal because I ain't paying $6 for a box, and I ain't paying $6.50 for a bag of chips. No, sir. No, sir. Get that shit under control, Trump.
By the Biden-Harris administration, which sent inflation up better than 20%. The national debt now standing at $36 trillion, with interest on the debt alone approaching $1 trillion. Joining me now in this Sunday morning.
What? I can't do it. Can anybody fathom this crap? You guys, in all our lifetimes, I think it will come down to, I just don't think it's come down in pre-COVID numbers. In our lifetimes, this happened.
Morning Futures exclusive is the co-leader of that department, the Department of Government Efficiency, Vivek Ramaswamy, with me this morning. Great to see you.
It's good to see you, Maria.
Thank you so much for joining us. Happy to have you here on set. I want to get your take on how this begins.
Sure.
What are you looking to cut right from the beginning?
So first is we want to go right in through executive action to do the failures of the executive branch that need to be addressed. Because the dirty little secret right now, Maria, is the people we elect to run the government, they're not the ones who actually run the government. It's the unelected bureaucrats in the administrative state. That was created through executive action. It's going to be fixed through executive action. Think about the Supreme Court's environment over the last several years. They've held that many of those regulations are unconstitutional at a large scale. Rescind those regulations, pull those regs back, and then that gives us the industrial logic to then downsize the size of that administrative state. And the beauty of all of this is that can be achieved just through executive action without Congress. Score some early wins, and then you look at those bigger portions of the federal budget that need to be addressed one by one. So I think that's one way to think about this is how can the president of the United States, who's been elected with a historic mandate, actually do the thing that the voters have voted for. They haven't voted for incremental change here this time, Maria. We have voted for sweeping change, and the voters actually deserve to get it. And we're focused on how to do that as early and as quickly as possible.
So President-elect Trump just said on that soundbite that you're going to make recommendations. So you're going to make recommendations in terms of where to cut after all that you've just said. Then what?
Look, we're not going to be cutting ribbons. We're going to be cutting costs. And so those recommendations are going to be on a real-time basis. But I do want to take a big step back and understand, for people to understand the...
So I'm trying to understand the flow, right? Because my main question has been, how is this going to work? Like, I get they're going to look through the paperwork. They're going to look at the numbers. Like, I get all that. What I mean is, are we cutting as we're going? Because remember, this is a government program that they're opening up basically right now, if you want to look at it that way. And it has an end date of July 4th, 2026. I don't want to wait till July 4th, 2026 for them to go, here you go, Mr. Trump, Mr. President. Now we can start cutting. On January 20th, I want Trump, and you guys, I mean this in all literal sense. I want him to walk in that Oval Office that day and just just start. I don't even want him to physically sign. I just want to stamp. Ta, 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 ta. Done. Fired. Boom. Gun. Get out. You're done. See you later. Boom, boom, boom. I just want him to just start cutting left and right. Just boom, 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 boom. Just start manufacturing. Just double fisting stamps. Da, 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 da. That's what I want. And it seems like that's going to be the case with the executive branch, at least that side of it. And then those other recommendations about cutting, and I think they're going to be doing it based on what he's saying as they find out, which is awesome. Hey, Trump, this one needs to go. Cool. Boom. Stampy. Give me another one.
Scope of this problem. Over $500 billion that's spent every year right now was not even authorized by Congress in the first place. The Pentagon has just failed its 7th consecutive audit, nearly $1 trillion of budget. They can't even tell you where it goes. So I think part of this is exposing for the public the extent of that rot and waste, but then to take steps first through executive action and then laying the groundwork for broader change through legislation as well to rein in that deficit, to rein in that budget. And more crucially, Maria, I know we're talking about this in terms of efficiency, but there's something deeper going on here. This is about restoring self-governance and accountability in America as well. Elected leaders, if they make the wrong decisions, voters have a great choice. You can vote them out and remove them. Most of the people making these decisions, from healthcare to the Department of Defense, are failing on effectiveness because they have no accountability. Historically, it's been the view of many scholars to say that those people could not even be fired. Now we take a different view with the environment the Supreme Court has given us in recent years, and we're going to use that in a pretty extensive way, Maria, to move quickly.
I 100% agree with Vivek here. There's no consequences. These assholes, and that's what they are, act like this in government. They just write these checks with no thought because they know nothing's going to happen to them. There's going to be another president in another 4 years. President's gone, no firing for them, so they get to act like idiots. But if any of us in the corporate world or the private sector got to act like idiots, well, you know, we get fired, we get let go, we get thrown in prison, this or that happens. Like, we actually have consequences. So basically what's happening is you have these people, Americans, by the way, that are giving the double middle finger to all of us saying, hey, we know better than you do what to do with your money. And you know what, quite frankly, we don't care what happens to it, so much so that it just disappears upwards of $1 trillion. That's happened multiple times. And you know what? Maybe it's about time, snip, 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 they get let go. Maybe it's about time when people start losing their jobs, maybe things will change. I hate saying it because those people need to feed their family, right? You're talking thousands and thousands of jobs. But when you sit there and do stuff like that, that's not okay.
You're going to have pushback, not just from the left. You may have pushback from those very people who are running those departments, running those agencies. They want as many people as they want in there. You're going to want to fire people. Yeah. So how are you going to deal with that? You're also perhaps looking at pushback from Congress. How are you going to deal with Congress? How are you going to deal with having Congress need to change the law?
Well, look, the beauty of this is I think we have a lot of allies in Congress who have their heart in the right place. But what we've learned is over the last 40 years, even conservatives, we've talked a big game for 40 years about cutting the federal government, about reducing the scope of the federal government. Politicians haven't been able to do it. And so Elon and I, we're not politicians. We're businessmen. We're coming at it from the outside. Sometimes if you go inside, you become native to the system. So President Trump, I applaud him for his creativity and his open-mindedness to setting this up for success in a way that hasn't happened before. But I come back to the principle. In the early months, score quick wins through executive action, show what can be done then, and then I think we will lay the groundwork for Congress to have to take meaningful steps in budget reductions for the future. A lot of these discussions we have are theoretical. Right? I have to cut different entitlement programs or whatever. Let's start with the fact that there is massive waste, fraud, and abuse right now. Federal contractors are really exploiting the federal government. You could take haircuts across the board, and they would be no worse off for it. And it's not just about cutting cost, but increasing effectiveness from defense to healthcare. A lot of that is a failure of the administrative state itself, Maria, that rests under the executive branch. And I'm optimistic. It's part of why we've set an end date on this. Our work is done by July 4th, 2026. Unlike every other government project, we don't want this one to last. We want to go in, fix the problem, dissolve, and move on, and set an example for how our federal government should run.
I love that. But again, you are going to face pushback from within.
Sure.
And you are going to have to make this so compelling that you get the support, congressional support. So how do you do that?
Well, look, I think the public is on our side. Most of the public understands their taxpayer dollars are not being well spent. They want to hold these decision makers accountable, and they're not able to. These congressmen are responsive to the people. Many of them are quietly on our side as well. So I think the division of responsibilities, a lot of people who face 2-year election cycles in political Congress, they end up looking at what's happening tomorrow. We're looking at the next 250 years. We want to give them credit for doing the right thing. Elon and I aren't in this for the credit, but I think we're going to build the consensus to make the kind of deep cuts that haven't been made for most of our history.
Are you expecting to close down entire agencies, like President Trump has talked about the Department of Education, for example? Are you going to be closing down departments?
We expect mass reductions. We expect certain agencies to be deleted outright. We expect mass reductions in force in areas of the federal government that are bloated. We expect massive cuts among federal contractors and others who are overbilling the federal government. So, yes, we expect all of the above. And I think people will be surprised by, how quickly we're able to move with some of those changes, given the legal backdrop the Supreme Court has given us.
You've got what has been called a deep state. You've got people who have been career bureaucrats in place right now. Didn't President Biden put in...
I want to show you all right now, you got to be in the chat, what happens... Let me see if I can pop this out. This is what Vivek's talking about. Government agency. So all the leftists in here, government agency, deleted, removed, gone, see you later. That's what he's talking about.
Plans to ensure that you're not going to be able to fire those people at all. How do you get around that? And, I asked Joni Ernst, are you for term limits? She says, yes, I am for term limits, as long as the people around me are also for term limits. That's not in place right now. So how do you get rid of those people who are dug in?
Well, a lot of what's happened is President Biden has made a lot of changes trying to entrench the administrative state. The Supreme Court has slapped them on the wrists numerous times. So we're working with a legal landscape here that is historic. You think about a president of the United States like Donald Trump, elected with the mandate he's been given, both chambers of Congress belonging to Republicans, a 6-3 conservative majority in the Supreme Court. Maria, if we don't downsize the federal government now, it's never going to happen in the future.
He took the words right out of my mouth. If we don't downsize now, and I was waiting for this video to get done to say this exact thing, so might as well just do it. This is the only time, you guys. And I fully believe that this is the only time we have to take things back to how it's supposed to be. If it doesn't happen now, I 100% think we're done. It's it. It's GG. Start packing up, not leaving the country, but now we're just going to be idiots, and we're going to keep going and going and going. Let's hope that everything falls apart after we're dead and gone.
As well. So this is a historic opportunity. We're not actually going to squander this, but I think part of the key is to move quickly, to move effectively. I think that mass deregulation that I talked about earlier, that gives us the industrial logic to then make cuts to that bureaucracy, and moving quickly is our objective.
Have you thought about moving some of these departments or agencies out of Washington?
It's funny you bring up this point. Yes is the answer, but here's why. They'll say, well, what happens to the people who live in Washington, D.C.? Here's the dirty little secret in the federal bureaucracy today. Most people don't even show up to work. So if you require most of those federal bureaucrats to just say, like normal working Americans, you come to work 5 days a week, a lot of them won't want to do that. And by the way, that creates a logic for many of those agencies being outside of D.C. in the first place. So these are, again, examples. It's a great point you just brought up.
So would you
sweeping
move,
changes we're able to make quickly.
You could move the Energy Department to Texas or to Pennsylvania. You could move agriculture somewhere else. Is that what you're thinking?
Well, look, I think that, yes, absolutely. But I think even bigger picture than that, many of these agencies should be downsized wherever they are. And for whatever does remain, move many of them out to be where they're more accountable to the people. And by the way, if you have many voluntary reductions in force of the workforce in the federal government along the way, great. That's a good side effect of those policies as well. And so our goal is not to be cruel, by the way, to the individual federal employees. Most of them, I do want to say this, are individually good people, and we want to be compassionate and generous in how we handle this transition. But the real issue is there's just too many of them. We don't need 4 million, and we shouldn't have 4 million civil servants who can't be or aren't even elected or can't be removed from their positions. It's anti-democratic.
Real quick, we got to jump, but
100% agree about everything Vivek says. And obviously I would tell you, right? Like, I don't agree with what he's saying here. I have no qualms with a single thing that dude just said, which is a remarkable thing if you think about it. Because normally politicians, and I know Vivek's a businessman, but he's also a politician at this point too. It's kind of both. The guy's right. He's right about everything. Now, I was going to break this down for you, but I think basically Vivek did a great job, or Vivek. Elon Musk's Doge will work, like how it will work. So if you guys want to read this on your own here, why don't I go ahead and just post it for all of you? And I'll post it over at YouTube as well. You guys can read that on your own, send it to your friends and family. It's just Donald Trump talking about how it's going to work and what things are going to be done. And so I think it'll answer some of your questions. But basically, Vivek kind of outlaid it down for us. I love this one, though. We actually talked about this in the past. There are 428 federal agencies. He thinks he can get away with 99. 99. And I believe him. Look what he did with X. Twitter was like, oh, we need all these jobs. We need all this stuff. He's like, no, we could probably drop it by half easy. Oh, no, it's going to take years. He's like, you got 6 weeks. So I believe that Elon alone can do it. And if you throw the icing on the cake, Vivek, then they're definitely going to do it. If you guys could smash that like button, I would be greatly appreciative of that. That helps us send our videos out there to new viewers who haven't seen our content or our channel. We're trying to grow here, even though we're fighting against the big tech machine here at this point. If you're a new viewer, well, welcome. We do this every single morning, 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We are fighting big tech. That is not just a statement. We've had videos deleted by YouTube. We've had flags now at this point. We've had appeals. So greatly appreciate it. Follow us over at Rumble if you would like. Let's keep going here. Let's keep going. We got Trump gunning to repeal Biden's EV tax credit. Repealing the $7,500 electric vehicle tax credit has reportedly been the subject of discussion by Trump's transition team. I don't have an opinion on this yet. I'm not sure what the end goal of this is, because it does hurt Elon, but it also hurts his competitors. So my guess is Elon is okay with doing this because I believe he thinks in the long run, he's going to be selling his vehicles for cheaper and making them for cheaper than his competitors, where basically this tax is a subsidy, right? The tax is a subsidy, or to subsidize this vehicle and make it cheaper for people to buy an electric vehicle. Well, once this is gone, I think he's able to get down to the nitty gritty of the real numbers here and sell it for cheaper. So it's going to hurt his competitors. That's what I think. I haven't broken this down yet, but that's going to be my guess so far. President-elect Donald Trump's transition team is reportedly pushing a scrap of the $7,500 tax credit for electric vehicles. The EV credit benefits the sector of one of Trump's biggest supporters, Elon Musk, the largest electric vehicle manufacturer in the United States and the second largest globally. Musk has previously supported killing the tax credit. However, because as much as it is going to hurt him, it will hurt its competitors even more. I think it'd be devastating for our competitors and for Tesla slightly, but long-term probably actually helps Tesla, would be my guess. So I don't see where he's breaking this down in here, but I think in the long run, he knows he's going to be able to make things for cheaper. Electric vehicle subsidy is a key part of President Joe Biden's signature Inflation Reduction Act. On the campaign trail, Trump repeatedly promised to roll back Biden's policies on electric vehicles, and Trump's energy team is eyeing repealing the tax credit to build a case in supporting of extending Trump's 2017 tax cuts. I'm glad that we have that sentence, which is why I'm highlighting it, because remember, regardless of not regardless, now Trump is getting into office, his tax cut disappears. So everything that we were able to file before, all those, not just the credits, but the increase in deductions, right? How he rolled in your personal exemption into your standardized deduction, all that stuff that took place, I would imagine at least most of it's going to be gone. So we're going to see what happens with that, because we need them to re-implement that so we could take advantage of all that on top of all the new things Donald Trump wants to do. Corporations you build in America, well, now you drop from a 20% tax to a 15% tax. Those types of things need to go through. So I'm on the lookout for that because it benefits all of us. And that's one thing that really kind of irritated me. And I'm sure it irritates people like Jeff, who's also accountants. I'm no longer one, but used to be, is that whenever we get into a presidential election, everybody all of a sudden becomes a tax accountant or knows shit about taxes, when at the end of the day, they don't. I don't even know everything about taxes. But what I could say is, on average, Americans saved about 3% across the board, 3% on their taxes. So this whole idea that these Democrats and these leftists and these media outlets are saying, oh, well, he's only going to sit there and help the wealthy. No, he didn't. It helped all of you. He reformulated everything to benefit you. Why would I sit here and tell you that? What, because I'm shilling for Trump? If he does something stupid, I promise you guys, I'm going to tell you that I think it's stupid. And does that maybe going to hurt my viewership? Maybe, but I'd rather you have an outlet here that's not going to blow smoke up your ass. And I'm sorry for cussing, but that's the phraseology, That's the phraseology. So we're going to continue here in just one moment, but I want you guys to have, at least that I'm not going to sit there and sugarcoat things. If I think something's bad that he does, I'm going to say it, and I'm going to tell you why I think it's bad. Doesn't mean you got to agree with me. I'm sure there's going to be things that you guys have in your own life that I don't agree with, but life goes on. Life goes on, and I want you to know we're not beholden to the establishment. Quite frankly, I'm not beholden to the Republican Party or the Conservative Party, even though I'm conservative. I think everybody kind of likes that idea. Now, here's some picks here, and we finally did get our White House press secretary, so I want to make sure we get to that. We finally have our White House press secretary, but here's some picks really quick. Trump picks Burgum for Secretary of Interior. I got really nothing. I just more or less wanted to let you know that North Dakota Republican Governor Doug Burgum has got that position. If confirmed by the Senate, Burgum would manage more than 500 million acres of federal lands, as well as fossil fuels and minerals that lie beneath the surface. That's a big deal because Trump wants to drill, baby, drill, and we can use federal lands for, hopefully, that drilling. And I believe there already are permits out there for it. Not all those permits are going or should be used because, quite frankly, there's nothing really to those permits. A lot of people forget that when these oil companies go out and do all these permits and they want to drill, it's also part of kind of like a show of face or kind of like a show of competition of, hey, we got all these permits in this area. So even though that there may be not even much oil there or even worth drilling. And so what's going to happen with this other oil company is going, well, shit, that guy has all these permits. Crap, we got to get our bleep together. We got to start finding permits ourselves. We got to start finding oil because clearly they might have struck it. And so some of these are just pure competitiveness. There's not really much behind it. It's more of a bluff, right? Kind of like you see in poker. So be aware of that some of these stuff is just, it's really nothing. He's also tapping, which I think is a good pick here. He's also tapping Doug Collins of Georgia here for Secretary of Veteran Affairs. He's a veteran himself, and he currently serves as our nation as a chaplain in the United States Air Force Reserve Command and fought for our country in the Iraq War. This is a very good pick. And again, as of right now, I got no qualms with any of Trump's picks, really, other than maybe Matt Gaetz. But I know the Patriots in the chat, we asked y'all last week what you think about it. I don't think there was a single no. Everybody's pretty much down to have Matt Gaetz as a person in there. Now, I want to get to the White House press secretary because, quite frankly, we cover all the White House press briefings, and she has the power to restructure these briefings and bring in more or less independent outlets. So let's get to her, and I'll kind of talk about the briefings themselves. President-elect Donald Trump announced Friday, and this one was not a shock to me, Caroline Leavitt, is that how you say her last name? To be the new White House press secretary. Now, the reason why I thought this would be, and you guys might have heard me mention this in the past, was because she was already the White House, well, she was the press secretary for the Trump campaign. Usually, if you're the press secretary for the Trump campaign, you're going to roll into that role when he enters the White House. So this was not a shock, and she is good at her job. If you guys recall, I was giving these tips of she talks very fast, and sometimes when she talks very fast, you're going to lose the attention of the audience because they can't keep up, which is not a discredit to the audience. It's more or less when you're communicating with people, and I kind of fall into this trap myself, is your mind is going 1,000 miles an hour. And so you want to make sure that your mouth is keeping up with your mind, and you don't want to lose that train of thought that you have. So when you lose that train of thought that you have, it's game over, right? So you need to make sure that you're keeping up with your mind. Well, the problem with that is that you end up stumbling through your words. And that's what happens with me sometimes. I'm sure you guys seen it, where I won't even sometimes finish a word before I even move on to my next sentence or my next thought because my mind's going so fast. I got to read the chat. I got to think, okay, are my stories going in line? Is what I'm saying make sense? How does this go throughout U.S. history? How does this make sense? Is it logical? Does all these things have to go through your mind when you're controlling many facets of a show, but let alone White House press secretary here? So one thing I think she could fix is she needs to slow down. And when she slows down, I think that's going to make her presence even that more powerful. She is really great. I don't want anybody to think that I'm hounding her by any means. She is phenomenal. And quite frankly, a YouTuber or an influencer or just some dude in his closet, Somebody might say, well, Brad, what do you know? You don't do it. You're right. But I do a lot of speaking for an hour every day on top of my normal job where I speak probably for 4 or 5 hours straight teaching difficult concepts. When you slow down, it does show that you are in control. It shows that you know what you're talking about. And nobody's going to blame you for thinking about what you're going to say because, again, it shows that you're in control. This is a really good pick. I'm curious to see how she's going to perform. She has big shoes to fill because she's not Kayleigh McEnany, but that's how people are going to match her up against, and that's what we want to see. So regarding the White House press briefings here, she has an opportunity to restructure the room. Normally, you have the big outlets in front like NBC, ABC, CNN, Fox News. For some reason, the Associated Press was up front, right in the middle, always gets the first question. What I'm hearing rumors of is now that we saw legacy media has no skin in the game, nobody gives 2 bleeps about legacy media, that they're going to start putting in more like independent type media. So I'm talking like the Daily Wire, the Blaze, maybe Tim Pool, like things like that, like podcasters in the room, because that's where the voice is. That's where people are going to get their news. So there's some discussion about that taking place. And if somebody needs a White House correspondent, I mean, you got to pay me good money, right? I'm not cheap, okay? I'm not cheap. I'm expensive, but I'll do the job. I will do the job. We are proud to announce that Bald Brad is the new press secretary, and we will pay you in D.O.G.E. So I would love to be in that room. So if Daily Wire is looking for a White House press secretary, I've covered every single one. I know how to do it. But that's kind of the rumor mill, is that I think they're going to start bringing in some more like Daily Wire type people or the Blaze type people, like, small people. I should say small, but you know what I mean. So that'll be kind of nice, getting the news out that way. We also have a new FCC commissioner here, or FCC rather, is going to take on the big 4 tech companies for censorship cartel. So the FCC commissioner, Brendan Carr, is taking on 4 big tech companies for their involvement in the alleged censorship cartel that he says targeted Americans for promoting narratives that the companies did not agree with. Sounds a hell of a lot like what I just got done dealing with for this past week of deleting my videos for conspiracy theories. You know what it was? They said conspiracy theories because they didn't want to cause harm. Could you imagine Crowder in the front row? Yeah, that'd be bad. Crowder in the front row would be pretty good. But, them going after my stuff because they want a safe space. They want a safe space for people to look at some things, which is bonkers, which is freaking bonkers. So I just want to show you all the warning here. Let's see if I can get it. Will they let me show it? They won't. Oh, that's stupid. Oh, these freaking commies. Oh, well. So we can't show that. But there's also this little bit of news here where Speaker Johnson, the migrants around the world, door to U.S. now being closed. And this is where they start dispersion. They're not going to come anymore in these caravans because they know, like, daddy's coming in office in 2 months here, 8 weeks. We got 8 weeks. Let's hope Trump stays safe for those 8 weeks. I'm a little nervous. I got to admit, I'm a little nervous. I want nothing bad to happen to anybody, let alone Mr. 47. I got this clip queued up for y'all right here.
Well, look, I'm not sure what the specific promise is. I know the president said that he wanted to engage in the largest mass deportation effort probably in history, because that is what is called for. I mean, you admitted yourself that maybe as many as 20 million undocumented persons, illegal aliens in the country. So this is a concern of communities all across America, not just the big cities, but rural areas as well, because they've been sent all over the nation. We need to send a message to people around the world that the open door is now being closed and that we're going to restore law and order. And I think that's what the American people are very hopeful and expecting that we will deliver upon. And we will. And President Trump's committed to it.
Love that. He is committed to it. And I think he showed that he's committed to it with Tom Homan as the ICE director. And that dude is some serious freaking business, let me tell you. Tom Homan does not mess around whatsoever. So you have that going on in the news. Remember, folks, the illegal immigrants here are doing so well that they're inflating the housing market in their own country. We covered that about 2 years ago, where people weren't able to compete because the dollar's doing so well that when they send it back, right, they're killing it over there. So not only are they inflating our localities, but they're also inflating the localities back in their home country, which is bonkers stuff right there. Not to mention, we also have terrorists. And speaking of terrorists, feds arrest a Houston man for providing support to ISIS planning terror attack. So that's lovely. Freaking A, dude. Federal authorities have arrested a 28-year-old Muslim man in Texas while with attempting to provide material support to ISIS. This individual was arrested in Houston last week after the FBI executed a search warrant on his residence, vehicle, and electronic devices. Analysis of the seized devices ultimately revealed activities related to the creation and dissemination of propaganda on behalf of ISIS. If convicted, he faces 20 years in federal prison and up to $250,000 in fines. So that took place, meaning you have actual Americans right now helping terrorists, and probably some of those terrorists are currently in the United States right now because Joe Biden didn't want to do his damn job. Democrats didn't want to execute the laws that are on the books to protect this country. And here's my fear, you guys. I'm going to give you two fears that I have. I think things are way worse off than we could ever imagine. And I hope I'm wrong. I had a buddy message me yesterday that sent me a clip of, somebody saying we're most likely going to go into a recession because things aren't being reported the way that they should be, that they're fabricating everything. And I told him, I said, I've been saying this for 2 years, that I think things are way worse than what is being presented, from crime to the numbers to failing an audit. I think things are way worse off than what the media and the Democrat Party has really shown. They've done a great job of hiding stuff for the last 3.5+ years that who the hell knows what's going to be uncovered by Donald Trump, Elon Musk, Vivek, and everybody else. So we could very well roll into a very problematic situation here within the next 2 years where it's not Donald Trump's fault, it's Democrats' fault, and he's having to deal with it, and he's going to get the blame from the legacy media. That's what I think is going to happen on that front. I hope it doesn't, because we can't do a recession right now. Oh, no. But we are due for one, to be quite frank. The other one is, I think there's a lot of terrorists in this country present time, in the thousands, right? We already know there's murderers and rapists and all that other stuff. And I've said this a long time ago, that there could be a terrorist attack in this country, and who's going to be to blame? Who didn't keep America safe as promised? Who didn't do all these things? Donald Trump's going to be the blame. I don't think he should be. The blame is on Democrats because they allowed this to happen, and now he's having to deal with their shenanigans. So those are the two things that I'm most worried about, other than Donald Trump's safety, of course. But that's what I'm kind of expecting to take place, and I hope it doesn't, God forbid. But either way, they're going to go after Donald Trump and anything he does, right? The guy can cure cancer, and they'll still go after him. So with that being said, folks, that is today's episode. Again, we go live every single morning, weekdays rather, 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Would love for you to join us. If you're just now seeing us, hit that follow button over at Rumble. Again, we do this every morning. We got an awesome community of Patriots in both chats, not just on X, not just on YouTube, but also on Rumble. So follow us. We would love for you to be a part of the Patriot community here. If you want to become a member, don't feel like you have to. It's 99 cents plus over at YouTube, meaning you can do a $9.99, $4.99, or $9.99 option. It's up to you, but it's $4.99 over on Rumble, and that's where most of the proceeds go back to us, and we're able to sit there and pay for things, the editing software for Photoshop, Adobe Premiere. We have to pay for the website, all sorts of stuff. So don't feel like you have to, folks. It's just those that do. It's greatly appreciated. Hit that follow button. Leave us a comment, watch the stuff over again, and be on the lookout for maybe I'll do a short video on Rumble and X regarding the video we got taken down. So with that being said, Patriots, love you so much. Thank you for all your support. Greatly appreciate it. I hope you have a lovely week. I'll see you back here tomorrow, 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, for another episode of The Ball Brad Show. Take care, Patriots.